Hey guys, today we're with Carolyn again. Say hi.
Hi.
We are going to be doing the first time tag. You ready to go?
Yes.
Okay.
Question number 1. First YouTube video you ever made?
The first YouTube video that I ever made was my friend Janelle. She had asked me to show her how I do my eyebrows. And I made the video and tried to send it to her. But since the file was too large to put on my phone, I put it on YouTube, and that's actually how I started. So I did kind of like a non-professional brow tutorial, and that was my first video.
Nice.
Yeah.
What was your first car?
My first car was a Honda Civic. It was a little white Honda, and I loved that thing, and I drove it into the ground. What was yours?
My first car was
Yes.
a Dodge Stratus, and I forget what year, but at first it was good, and then...
And then what happened?
Things started falling apart on it. I think when I, traded in for my car now, they gave me like $500 for it.
Oh my god.
Yeah. Sad.
Oh.
Sad. What was the first thing you did this morning?
The first thing that I did this morning was I woke up and I did Pilates and took a shower. That was pretty much it.
Okay. I went pee.
Doesn't everybody?
Yeah.
Everyone needs a little bit of humor in their life.
What was your first tweet?
My first tweet was to my friend Buff, and I said, "Girl, I'm gonna eat that cake out your mouth."
Wow. My first tweet and only tweet, I had heard if you tweeted about a company,
Yeah.
if you're pissed or something,
Right.
that they'll respond. So I think I tweeted about something that I was mad about, but
Oh, okay.
that was my only tweet.
Right.
When was your first kiss?
Oh my god. You know what's funny is that I believe for both of us, our first kiss was each other.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to go ahead and tell the story?
Okay, we walked down to our old elementary school because we live fairly close.
Weren't we 13 or something?
Actually, I think we were 17.
Oh, okay.
We're
okay.
both late bloomers.
We were.
And we were sitting on the steps, kind of smiling at each other, and then yeah, really.
It's a nice romantic embrace.
Yeah. Except I think we were sitting on opposite sides.
We were.
From what I remember. And then we just leaned in and... Yeah, he threw up all over me.
I know.
No, we did our kiss,
did.
but then we walked home and we were like, oh, my stomach hurts.
I know. I was like, girl, I don't feel so good.
Yeah, I was like, I just kissed a gay guy. No.
Right?
So yeah, that's our first kiss with each other.
It was. It was such a beautiful moment.
It
such
was.
a great memory.
It was. First alcoholic beverage.
My first alcoholic beverage was actually a banana daiquiri.
Ooh.
Yeah, it was really delicious.
Yum.
I may or may not have been underage.
That's okay because my mom she would drink just like Bud Light or something cold, and she'd give me a little bit of it.
Oh, okay.
And so now I like beer.
Oh, okay.
But I was underage, but it was in our house. So
It was. I was in my house too.
Yeah. First job.
My first job, I actually worked at Dot's, which is a low-grade women's clothing store, and it was kind of okay, but my next job was Burger King with a bunch of my friends. We ran that drive-through like nobody's business.
What does that mean?
Everyone loves a Whopper.
Oh. Mm-hmm.
What was your first job?
At the Akron Board of Education.
I remember that.
Yeah, because I was in a business class in high school. We had to get a business-type job.
Right.
And so I got hired in there, and that's what led to my secretarial work, and I'm still a secretary.
Right.
But it was a good place to work. I really liked it, so
Yeah.
I would work there again.
Uh-huh.
Where did you go on your first plane ride?
When I was 18, I actually went to San Diego, and that was my first plane ride, but I was so nervous. Like, I had to bring a little stuffed bunny with me, because I love bunnies. And when I went on the plane, I was like literally like clutching it, and the, what is it, a stewardess?
Mm-hmm.
She was like, "Are you okay?" The flight attendant, yes, yes. She was like, "Are you okay?" And I'm like, "I'm just really nervous," and I just like held my bunny the entire time, and I was just terrified. Yeah.
Mine was to Las Vegas.
Oh wow.
Yeah, and I sat next to some guy, and I thought we were gonna die. And he was like, "Just
right.
relax, you'll be okay." And then once we were, went up in the air, I was like, "Cool."
Mm-hmm.
And ever since then, I've loved to fly.
Oh wow.
I love it.
Yeah.
It's like my first choice of when I travel for transportation.
Okay.
Who was your best friend, and do you still talk to them?
I actually have multiple best friends. I keep a very close knit group of friends. They're all my besties, like you, of course. We've been friends since,
I think, elementary school.
yeah. We were like real little pups, and
Yeah.
we've kind of, carried our friendship through there, and we disconnected like I did with like a lot of my friends, but we've all connected recently, and it's pretty amazing.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Aww. Yeah, Kenny, Susie, who I've known since kindergarten, Steph, some that I've met, in my adult years. Yay! Where was your first sleepover?
I would have to say, when I was a kid, I had a friend, his name was Rick, and our parents met when we were very young, and they bonded because,
Rick.
yeah,
Oh my
I know,
God.
right? We had like little sleepovers and stuff, and I remember he had this cat, and I hated that thing. Oh my God. Like when you would walk, it would just like attack your feet, and I remember being so terrified of it.
God, yeah.
Yeah, so, yeah, that was my first sleepover.
I think mine was with my sister. She had a friend down the street, and I kind of tagged along
Right.
with the older girls. They were maybe like, my sister is like 4 years older.
Which one?
Oh yeah, I have 7 sisters. My sister Nicole, but her friend
Hi,
was.
Nicole.
Hi. Her friend, I think, was only a couple years older than me, but I'm pretty sure that was my first sleepover. What was the first concert that you went to?
I think it was Jimmy Buffett, because a friend of mine had a spare ticket, and I was like, I don't know who this guy is. So I went. It was kind of cool. It was pretty fun. There were a bunch of hippies doing illegal things. Right, exactly. But the actual first concert that I really enjoyed was going to Melissa Etheridge, and she had a total rock out concert. Loved it.
Mine, I'm pretty sure, was Michael Bolton.
Yeah.
At Blossom, I went with my sisters Marge, Nicole, and Anne Marie, and he, it's a subdued concert, but he came out into the crowd and everybody was standing up. I think I was standing on my seat.
Oh wow, that's amazing.
Yeah, I was like, oh, Michael Bolton. I wanted me some Michael Bolton.
Right.
What was your first broken bone?
Fortunately, I have never had a broken bone.
Wow.
Yeah, I've had a couple bumps and bruises and sprains, but never a broken bone.
Wow.
Yeah.
Mine was my foot. I think I was in the backyard and I was wearing flip-flops.
Right.
And I was twisting around in them or something. And somehow my foot went, but the flip-flop didn't. And wait, did I say how old I was? I was maybe 4.
Oh,
and
little baby.
Yeah, and I remember someone pulling me in a wagon, and I had my little cast on, and our next door neighbors, I want to say they gave me one of those little orange push-up pops from like Lawson's.
Like those, yeah,
like the sherbet kind.
Right.
And
they're like crack.
Yeah.
They were so good.
Yeah, they were. And I was a crazy child, and I used to ride my bike with my cast on, and my mom once or twice had to take me back to the hospital to get the cast put back on.
Did she get like pissed at you?
I can't remember if she did. If that were my child, I might be like, look, but it's like, hello, hide my bike from me or something.
Exactly.
What was the first movie you remember seeing?
The first movie I remember seeing was, I actually think it was E.T.
Mine too. I love E.T.
God, right?
E.T. Phone Home. When was your first detention?
I've actually never had a detention.
Oh. I have.
I was always really good in school, but I was so shy.
Aw.
So
Yeah.
I just never had a detention.
Not
I was
good.
always kind of like teacher's pet. But,
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
The first one I can remember was in middle school because Christy Zerker, if you're watching, I don't know, she was joking with me and said something, I flipped her off. And I remember the teacher named Mrs. Green saw me and she gave me detention.
Oh my gosh.
Who was your first roommate?
My first roommate was actually one of my very good friends, Shauna. Hey girl.
Shauna Chanel?
Yes, Shauna Chanel. Hey.
I love her.
I know, isn't she the cutest thing?
Yes.
Girl, you need to close your legs for a minute. You keep popping out the babies. You need to close the bakery. Love you.
She said after this one it's closed.
She did.
Yeah.
Bitch is fertile.
Yeah. My first roommate was my friend from Saudi Arabia, Adele, but actually I call him Son.
Aw.
Yeah, and that was just last year that was my first roommate.
Oh wow.
Well, technically, actually, I shared a room with my sister Nicole before
You
that.
did.
So
that's
yeah.
kind of technically being
Yeah.
a roommate, you know?
But my first apartment, it was Son. So.
Right.
What was the first sport you were involved in?
What?
Let me repeat the
What are
question.
sports?
Sport, like,
Is that like figure skating?
Yeah, for gay people.
Right. It's like Drag Queen Olympics.
Yeah, there you go.
Actually, I was involved in a lot of sports as a kid. I was a gymnast, I was in swimming, I was in karate, I eventually did volleyball, and actually I think that was it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Mine, I guess, would be cheerleading.
Yeah.
And I mean, I guess that's considered a sport. That was at Patterson Park.
Right.
Lisa Greenaway, now Watkins, and I tried out. I think we were like 10.
Yeah, I remember.
Yeah, and we wore our little purple uniforms.
Right.
And we were both darn good.
Right.
So,
You know what else is a good drag queen friendly sport? You were in flag line.
Yeah.
You got to twirl the pole.
I like twirling the pole. Yeah, I did.
Right.
I enjoyed that. What is the first thing you do when you get home?
First thing that I do when I get home, girl, I strip my ass down, wash my brows off, wash my hair out, and I just chill.
Well, my dog, Virgil
Yay,
Francis,
Virgil.
greets me,
He's
and
so
he does
cute.
this little tap dance. And I say, what are you, Fred Astaire or something? And
He gets so excited.
he does. Oh my God, he's such a mama's boy.
Right?
And, yeah, I'll put my hand down, he sniffs, you know. And I usually, once I get home, I take him out
Yeah.
outside because he's been in all day.
Right.
While I've been at
Aw,
work.
that's so
So
precious.
then after that, we come back in and I rip off my bra
Okay.
and we like cuddle together.
Oh,
So
that's precious. So that is our first time take. And if you guys enjoyed it, give it a thumbs up, click like, subscribe. I want to thank Carolyn for joining me again on my channel.
thank you for having me.
Oh, you're welcome. You're very welcome. So peace out. Love you guys. And bye.
Bye.